Okay, I have here a small interesting medal, which was a medal that was given to Grand Master Haswell, who was serving during the time of which we call the era of intolerance. He had the unfortunate position of trying to keep Vermont Freemasonry going while a lot of the lodges had stopped operating. The Morgan affair, of course, is something that no one should really be proud of. And you got to remember, at that time, Freemasonry had millions of brothers across the country, and this was just one small incident. There was a lot of anti-Masonic feelings under the surface, particularly from various religious organizations. The Baptists at that time were very strong in promoting their own religion as the only religion. They felt that becoming a Mason was another religion.
Back when I was a young fellow, it was pretty near impossible for a Mason to hold office in town. You know, there was that feeling at the time.
Why couldn't they hold office?
I'm not sure. I think it's more than just the feelings, you know. Maybe going back to this Masonic period, maybe coming from that.
So this is the basic lodge with all of our chairs. But this is where the senior warden, he's second in command, sits, and the master sits on that end there. This chair over here is a titler. He stands outside the door during the meetings when they first start with a sword. He's the guard. A titler means guard.
So he holds a real sword?
Yep. Sword right outside the door here. This is the altar, of course the Bible. If you believe God is a billy goat or a python or an elephant, that's your business. You have to believe in something higher than you are.
These are the books that we use in Masonry, all written in code. Each letter represents a word. The Grand Lodge of Vermont has a black book which we can learn from, which each lodge has a copy, which is locked into a safe. But when we join, we memorize all this from a brother that has been through it. They say it is not a religion, but it's basically spiritual, and we do. We pledge our faith to God when we sign the application to join. It's part of our understanding that we have a belief in God.
I joined Island Pond Lodge number 44 when I was 21 years old. I joined to join my dad's lodge. It was primarily railroad men back in the 20s. My grandfather was a railroad man. From the conception of the Grand Lodge of Vermont in 1794, the bulk of the Masons have been the working class Masons. They've been guys like me that get up in the morning and go to work and come home, clean up and go to lodge. Shake machine. This is where I spend the bulk of my day. Run reports, put together all the information that I need to run my restaurant. Pretty much the only thing missing that I would normally have here is a big coffee cup sitting on the table. You know, for a while in Vermont, Freemasonry was all but non-existent around the time of the Morgan affair. But around the turn of the century, there was a huge movement around the 1900s, a huge movement again in Freemasonry. I've actually lost very good friends who were Freemasons because their church told them that Freemasonry was the work of the devil.
Have you ever experienced any sort of anti-Masonic sentiment yourself? Suspicion or?
Not personally, but I have seen examples of it. I've received little booklets in the mail, you know, which have a lot of usually completely incorrect material in them.
What's the role of Masons in society, in Vermont?
Well, the official goal of the Masonic fraternity is to make good men better. And I believe that's an important contribution that we all make, to provide a fraternal opportunity to get together, enjoy each other's company, and find ways in which we can contribute to the community. Many Masons are involved in charitable works. Individual lodges have their own efforts, whether it's providing scholarships to to the kids of members of the fraternity, as many do, whether it's contributing to various health and social organizations, providing teddy bears to children who are hospitalized in the communities of our state. There are a lot of opportunities for the members of the fraternity to make a contribution, and I'm proud that they do.
Why the secrecy? Why is that important?
Well, it's not a secret organization. In fact, we march in parades and are very proud of our Masonic lodges. We open those buildings to the public from time to time. We do have secrets, as other fraternities do.
The idea of those Masonic lodges was that they were places removed from the world, that they were places where people could discuss philosophy and take part in great camaraderie, away from the trials and tribulations, the controversies, the animosities of the outside world.
What is Freemasonry?
It's a system that teaches morals and personal development through allegory and symbolism and rituals. Other people see it as a fraternal system that facilitates the passing of power.
What would you think is the reason that maybe?
Why would I think that Vermont was a hotbed for anti-Masonic activity back then? I would have to say it's because of the nature of a Vermonter. We tend to be free thinkers. We think how we think. We've elected Republican governors, Democratic senators, independent congressmen. When anyone feels like, and especially a Vermonter feels like, you're going to go behind a closed door with your brotherhood and make decisions, I could understand how that level of mistrust, which Vermonters are famous for, would come up.
Could you also in the beginning describe like how you were saying, so you'd be behind the altar and
Okay.
maybe like pretend you're in the lodge. Like,
Yeah, okay.
So if I'm in the lodge,
Yeah,
this would be the altar.
okay. When giving this charge,
Oh wait, hold on. Are you? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
when giving this charge, I'm always behind the altar, back to the worship master, which would be on the east side of the altar. A candidate would be on the west side. He would be standing there. And there are several verses to it, and I will give the last one. And my brother, these vows are your vows. May they be your cares. May such aid be given in answer to your earnest prayers. You may ever do and dare all that God's gracious laws enjoin. For on yonder book, my brother, those vows we took, you and I. Will we break them? Never. But stand by this, and this, and this, forever and forever.